consideration for level 5 joint mobility is what we term neck circles. So it's literally using the neck to circle the head completely underneath the body. As we discussed earlier, it's not advisable, or arguably it's not advisable, to move the head all the way across the back. It does put a lot of pressure on the cervical vertebrae and the nervous structure of the neck. You certainly would never want to perform this type of a circle with weight on your neck. And in this case, we're putting the full weight of our body on our neck. So it's an entirely semicircular motion under the body and then across the front. So the circle is fundamentally occurring on the frontal plane with the forehead. It's as if I'm trying to draw a circle on the camera lens with my invisible unicorn horn. So this is what I want to do as a warm-up. I can go back to my basic cruciform position from the shoulder roll and see the stress that that creates in my neck, the basic load. And then very mindfully trace the chin from shoulder to shoulder like I'm drawing a happy face. That's the essential part of the awareness and flexibility that I require. When I come across side to side, I don't lift up in any way. I don't want to strain my neck. So again, it's under and across and under. And I'll basically be performing that motion along with the shoulder awareness we've learned from our rules. So I'm going to start as if I wanted to perform a shoulder roll from the ground, from what's often termed a benediction pose. And I'm going to raise up onto one shoulder and rotate my arm completely over to relax the head of the deltoid. My face and chin are going to go towards my chest, and I'm going to lift as if somebody was pulling my belt up to the sky, pulling this up to the sky. So this is what we term a tripod position, both feet and one shoulder on the ground. Coming down again, rotating the arm, raising up onto both feet and this one shoulder. From that position, once I've gone up into the tripod, now the goal is to take my chin across my chest. So I'm looking to bring it underneath. And now it's totally forgivable to let the head touch the floor and to have these legs hanging out with a clear eye path to the sky. On the opposite side, circling and hanging out. And that's a very good basic awareness. If this becomes comfortable, the next stretch is to keep my face here, and I'm going to move to having my face between my legs and then to the opposite side. Between and opposite side. And now I've essentially, once I'm in this position, I'm going to slide my legs back exactly as I would in my third variation of back roll, tracing out on the insteps. So once the flexibility and the mobility is understood, we're looking at a rotation in the shoulder, tripod up, and a slide down. So, this motion is not something that I strictly require for level 5. If you don't have the physical capacity yet, but have everything else, this would not be a limiting factor. But the sensitivity that it contains is something we should actively work on. So if I'm severely limited by my structure, my weight, my flexibility, or if I have pre-existing neck or spine injuries, it is enough to look at the engagement of the abdomen, to lift up here, and to begin playing, stretching, opening the body, feeling how I can open up my ribs, I can stretch my back, and then I can look at when that moment occurs where the head goes under, I can look and see what can be done to activate my neck. Pulling the chin into the body, lifting up, going under, and then lifting, which is very difficult, but a great way to build strength, engage the core, and even in this position, finding balance, lifting the head, lowering the head, lifting the head, lowering the head. all of those awarenesses will help you sort of round out the corners. It's generally in going down, it's engaging the abs to lift the hips into the tripod. That's the first difficulty. Secondly, it's the basic flexibility of having the head underneath. Once that becomes comfortable, strengthening and engaging that under load is quite safe towards the frontal line. There are other exercises we can do with fingers braced, resting on the forehead and rocking the neck, but those are much more dangerous for the neck, for trapping nerves in the vertebrae. And arguably, even if you're a fan of those, should only be done at the highest levels of awareness. It suffices to gain that flexibility and learn how to release it. I can practice it very, very slowly. Oftentimes I'll have students use just a wall from this position, practice putting load and get closer and closer and closer. And the ideal measure is if I can touch my knees to the wall and get here, that's a really good stretch. As I go further away, it becomes more akin to the ground circle. Right, and I can lean into it and feel how I'm able to move my head in a circular path. So again, proceed cautiously. We put this in at level 5. It's a very advanced move, obviously, and it's not something that will somehow limit your performance in systemic or self-defense or biomechanics as a whole. But it's an interesting hurdle to address, to see where your blockages are, where your engagement, dark territories are that you can't feel and can't contract, and more specifically where you're tense, where we gain some functional mobility.